To effectively work with recurrent yeast infections, you should first understand what causes a yeast infection. Yeast infections are very common in women, although they happen frequently in men as well. In reality, a large amount of the yeast which causes the infections live on our body every day and are necessary to the body's proper function. If the yeast infections keep returning to your body, then it may cause a larger problem, and the symptoms alone can become very frustrating. You may be asking yourself right now, since the yeast normally lives on our body, then how does this cause a yeast infection? Well, the answer to that question is that the yeast in the body can get out of balance and cause yeast overgrowth. This happens when the body is not able to control its immune function properly, or you have mistakenly overfed the yeast or caused the good bacteria who keep the yeast in balance to disappear. Okay, so how is the body affected by yeast infections, you might ask? The body may not be able to protect itself as well as it should. Let's discuss some of the tips on working with recurring yeast infection and how they're caused. First is the immune system that helps us fight the millions of microbes in the air, water, and soil. The second is the one which contains the fighting strength against the billions of microbes that live on our body and help us to keep healthy, balanced lives. Candida is one such yeast that is usually kept in check, but can flare up when it becomes out of control. This creates a big problem when the yeast may tend to have an overgrowth on the body. If you are attempting to get treatment for a yeast infection, you need to first notice whether or not you are taking any antibiotics that could have such complications or not. Unfortunately, taking antibiotics can sometimes cause the good bacteria, which keep the yeast at bay, to disappear. So, what are the tips to counter recurring yeast infection? Well, stress can lead yeast infections to reoccur, so try and overcome stress in your life. You can also try by eating natural unsweetened yogurt. This type of yogurt contains good bacteria, which compete with the Candida yeast. In this way, it doesn't allow the yeast to grow and forestalls yet more infection and Candida overgrowth on your body.